Okay, so this is the first time I'm going to be trying to voice over one of my helmet cams, so bear with me. Hopefully I'll get this all good and set. But these are side-by-side dueling helmet cams for my prelim runs for both of my boys. This was their first competition of the year. I spent a couple weeks down in Aiken getting outside of cold, frozen Ohio, cross-country schooling, and then came up to Carolina International on the way home to compete them. So it was a pretty simple course. As you'll see, it seems to me like it was more of a step-up course. So I kind of opened them up a little bit, see if I could work on my speed and my timing, because that's probably my weakest attribute and skill. So we'll see here. We'll get going. So Jack got off to a little bit of a late start. He sometimes gets shut down a little bit. He gets so excited that he just freezes. So he lost about 5 seconds here in the box getting out of the box. But you'll see pretty soon that he caught up by jump 6. So these first 3 fences were simple. Just get out of the box, get going, and gallop fences. The first fence was actually shared with the modified, which makes it a little bit small, especially for my 2 that I've been galloping around intermediate and 3-star and attempted an advance last year. And you'll see that throughout the course that some of these fences are they don't respect because of their height, and I had to hold them off, and it was still a little ugly. I was a little rusty too, but that's what the first competition of the year is for, knock the rust off. So here's the first combination on course, fence 4AB. It was a pretty simple, slight bending line, set on 5 strides, and both of mine got there a little bit tight, but otherwise pretty good. So right here, something that I want to point out, it's really easy to lose time on these turns like this. We had a nice big sweeping turn after 4B all the way to 5, and it's really easy to kind of get lost out in the field, take some extra strides and extra seconds. So it's really important to try to keep this turn minimal, keep the speed up, and try to cut it as much as you can, get as close to 5 before you have to turn, just leave a few strides straight at 5, and that way you save plenty of time not going out for a gallop in this field. Right here, going to fence 6, this is where Jack caught up and started passing Kai in terms of speed. You'll see Kai spooks at the corner here where there's a little bit of shrubbery or something here. I don't know if that took away from our speed a little bit, if we changed our turn, or if Jack was just playing faster than Kai at this point. Fence 6, quite small. They both got really tight to it. I didn't see a good stride, and they did not respect it because it seemed almost like a training level jump. Fence 7 was back to prelim size. Nice little gallop jump. Then we had a bending all the way around to 8, where I got a little bit tight again with both of them. They're both quite full of themselves, and especially Jack, he comes out kind of like a fire-breathing dragon, so I'm fighting him a little bit more than I normally would, and then getting a little bit too backed off and tight to some stuff. So it's not the best riding, but like I said, I needed to knock the rust off at the beginning of the year. So fence 9AB was just a little rampy table to a right-handed corner here. I was set on a very, very slight bending left line, but the 4 stride was nice. It was a little uphill, so you made sure to keep the energy going, don't back off on your turn, and the 4 came up nicely. Now we have the water. I got a little bit tight with Jack to both the in and the out. I was waiting way too much and fighting him, and should have let him go and taken a stride out each way. Kai was good, but he kind of ran under the distance a little bit. Had to work himself out of the way a little bit harder, but he was good in and out, and I was happy, especially because he can have a little bit of a water issue. It wasn't the hardest water there is. It was quite simple, but still a good start to the year. So 11 was a nice simple gallop fence. Nice to get going again, and I got a nice good stride right out of stride with both of them. Especially good for Jack since I got him tight to the water. And then we go down the hill here to the tiger trap. We didn't actually have a coffin on the prelim, but it was quite a steep downhill. The video doesn't do it justice, so you kind of had to wait a little bit here and let them pick their way down the hill and then get going. Something that's super important here, especially for these gallop fences, is the ability to gallop away pretty quickly. If you think about it, if you can save 1 second, 1 or 2 seconds on the takeoff and the landing, just by getting going a little bit quicker. Over the stretch of the course, you're saving, 40 seconds here if you save 2 seconds per numbered fence. So it's a really good skill to have. It's one I'm still trying to develop and improve. But this was a good course to try to develop it on. I'm just going to freeze frame it here real quick to expand on that. It's really, really important to make sure you land off their back, land in your gallop position, so that way you can accelerate a little bit quickly. If you go back here a couple fences, you'll actually be able to see my shadow and that I land completely standing up in my stirrups, essentially, off their back, so that way they can accelerate pretty quickly after the fences. Again, it's a very important skill to have if you're wanting to make time at any level, really, but especially training prelim and above. Just getting going and landing in that gallop and going. So fence 14, it was a Normandy bank here. We had a ditch and wall up to 1 stride up over a log, and then a very wading 5 strides down to this chevron. You'll see that I got off center and left with jack, which made the 5 stride very, very tight. Now, they could have both done 4, but for something downhill like this and a little bit of an accuracy question, you just want them thinking about their feet a little bit more. So the 4, you would have been having some poor footwork if you had done the 4. Still very possible, but I'd rather just kind of wait, let them pick their feet and figure out and get the 5. So see that I get quite jostled on Kai. He jumped the snot out of that B element and landed quite downhill and quite big. And I got thrown up on his neck just a little bit, but eventing cross country is never going to be perfect. So you have to deal with what you get and recover as quickly as you can and keep your eye on the next fence and make sure you're on it. It was a nice open gallop here to this simple corner, left-handed corner, and then we have a nice little sweeping turn to the water. Again, nice, very simple water. You land, you're kind of out of, on dry land. Then you go through the water and back onto dry land and then jump. So in terms of complexity, it's one of the most simple waters, especially at prelim, that you're going to see. But they both did it well. And then we had this nice big sweeping turn to fence 17. And that's another important area where just you land off of that B element out of the water and make sure you keep going, because it's not worth, dilly-dallying to this other fence, fence 17, and then galloping afterward. You can save a couple seconds here going to 17 by galloping on and then just having a little bit of a wait, seeing it out of stride, and then jumping in and going on. You'll see here at fence 18, I see kind of an angled going stride with both of them, which is good. Nice open stride. With the turn before and after like this, it doesn't really matter if you try to put a lot more of your turn in front of the jump or after the jump. So if you see a nice going stride, and they're both great with angling fences hard, so this was nothing for them. Just see that, get going, and then you can make your turn after. Another little gallop here to fence 19 and 20, which are the last 2 fences on the course. They were set on a nice kind of sweeping, what turned out to be 7 strides, at least for both of mine. I'm sure you could have angled them a little bit harder and done less, or bent them a little bit more and done more, but trying to save time here, I just kind of saw on both of them, saw the first fence out of stride and made my turn and got going, and saw the next one out of stride. So also another thing I want to point out here, again, if you're trying to make time, don't dilly-dally here. Don't think that, just because you're past the last combination, and don't celebrate too early. Make sure you keep the gas pedal to the floor. Same thing all the way through the finish flags. Not just, don't let up after this last fence. You can actually save a second or two by accelerating again off of that last fence until you get through the finish flags. So again, that's, just little things that add up. A second or two here and there over an entire course can really make a difference. Well, I hope you enjoyed the voiceover and the helmet cams. I did my best to kind of explain what was going on in my head a little bit and what happened on the course. Like I said, it was pretty simple and straightforward, and it was a good kind of knock the rust off course, and good for me to practice galloping a little bit more, being a little bit speedier. I hope you enjoyed watching, and like I announced recently on my Facebook, I am putting together a masterclass sort of thing. So make sure you visit my Facebook, sign up, We're kind of in pre-launch, but there will be plenty of videos kind of like this, other videos, training videos, PDFs, interviews, and so much more that I'll be putting together that I'm really trying to focus on, helping the grassroots riders, the everyday riders that have a full-time job. Um, I think there's so much that gets lost, when you're getting coached by an Olympian, that they don't quite connect with anymore since they ride 12 horses a day. So anyway, that's my little spiel. So go check out my Facebook page. It's Michael Wilhelm Eventing. I have a little bit more information on there. You can sign up for the pre-launch, and hopefully it'll be a really good educational resource for everyone.